morning, everyone. This is Michele Hughes from Ageless and Timeless. I'm very fortunate today to have a guest who I want to have you meet because he is the clinical director and really the representative for a company that has found a way to supplement with HGH, human growth hormone, without using the injections, which many of you know have a plethora of side effects. And so let's first introduce Arden Ballard. And Arden, thank you for joining us today. And we are really happy to know that you can give us some alternatives to these injections, which actually are illegal unless you have a condition that justifies using human growth hormone. So let's start from the beginning. Arden, why don't you tell us first who you are and how you got to where you are today?
Well, thanks, Michele. I'm so glad to be here. I know we've been trying to do this for a couple of months now, so I'm really excited about it. My name's Arden Ballard. I'm a physician assistant, certified athletic trainer, and the clinical wholesale director for a company called Bioprotein Technology. And it's very simple what we do. We offer a non-synthetic alternative to prescription human growth hormone.
Right. So let's start and do the deep dive into what is human growth hormone, because there are many people in the audience I know that have experimented, many of our athletes for sure, and even people like me who are always looking for the anti-aging next generation of alternative protocols. And in my case, I also, because I broke my ankle, I do want to find ways to heal. And of course, human growth hormone has that benefit. So tell us, let's take a deep dive. First, let's talk about human growth hormone and why is it the pros and cons. Let's start with the pros.
Yep. So like you said, human growth hormone is a very key and very complex hormone that grows and develops humans, right? So as we age during puberty and whatnot, it helps us build our bones and our muscles. It helps accelerate our healing process. But after puberty, HGH pretty much stops being produced, right? 1 to 2% per year, sometimes by as much as 50%. By the time we hit our mid 30s, right? So and I'll back up a little bit. I won't get too clinical on you, but HGH, human growth hormone, is developed in the anterior pituitary. It's not utilized as HGH until it is converted into the liver. It has to be converted into something called growth factors. And I like to equate growth factors to like keys to a hotel complex, right? You're at a Hilton. There's 500 rooms in the whole place, right? A growth factor is a key to each door. And there's many different growth factors and they all do different stuff, right? Insulin growth factor type 1 is a very common one that you hear about. But then there's also endothelial growth factor and vascular growth factor, and nerves, and et cetera. There's a ton of them. And so as we age, as we're taking these laps around the sun, we're not producing it as much anymore. So by the time you get your mid 30s, that's when most people start to say, hey, I'm at leg day and it takes me 3 days to recover. I'm just really sore all the time, or I don't have the drive anymore that I used to. My sex drive is down. I can't focus and concentrate as much. That could all be attributed to a lack of human growth hormone. And so what we did is we gathered the formula that is the end result of human growth hormone, right? And so BioPro is a collection of those growth factors in a little vial, and it goes under the tongue. It's a sublingual application. So it's not an injection. So there's no needles, no risk of infection, all that stuff. It's absorbed under the tongue. You sit there for 90 seconds and then you go about your day. That's the 3-minute spiel of it, Michele.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to go back a little bit further because I want to move into understanding what BioPure, which is produced by your company, Bioprotein Technology, right? BioPure is your product name, and Bioprotein Technology is the corporate name. Is that the
BioPro Plus is the name of the product.
BioPro Plus.
Yes, and Bioprotein Tech is the name of the company. Yes.
Okay, just so everybody understands. So if you want to, we're going to talk later about how to find you on the internet, but Bioprotein Plus would be the product name.
Yes, ma'am.
And is your website under Bioprotein Technology or Bioprotein Plus?
Bioproteintech.com.
Okay, Bioprotein. Everybody make a note of that because you're going to want to look them up eventually here after we have this conversation. Okay, so let me backtrack a little bit, Arden, because I'd like to get deeper into human growth hormone and understand the reasons why you shouldn't take it versus why we should be looking at taking your product. So first of all, my understanding with HGH, human growth hormone, is, like I said earlier, that it is illegal in the United States unless you have a condition, and that condition would be what? What would some of the reasons be that you could get a prescription for HGH?
Yep, and you're absolutely right. And pretty much as an adult nowadays, you're not going to get it. It is, excuse me. It is illegal pretty much for adults to get it unless they're under the licensed care of a physician. And usually what they're treating is some sort of development delay, physical development delay, almost like a failure to thrive in young adults or teenagers or kids. They're using it to bolster their skeletal muscle or skeletal growth and development if they're way off the curve. Now, that wasn't always the case. It wasn't up until maybe 10 years ago that HGH was prescribed freely, and it usually coincided with a TRT program.
Which is testosterone replacement therapy.
Correct, yes. So anybody who got testosterone got HGH. And why? It's because those work hand in hand together. They have a symbiotic relationship, and one needs the other to work more effectively. So, but you're right. If you're interested in the real or the synthetic HGH prescription nowadays, if you get it, it's illegal, and most people have to source it from other countries, which is, in my opinion, really sketchy. You don't know what you're getting. I've seen patients had their eye color changed because they're getting it from cadavers. And really, with synthetic HGH, or really all synthetic, let's call them anabolics or anabolic steroids, they're designed to not have any control over your upper level of limits, right? So I say this all the time with BioPro, we're going to get you to 100%, but we're never going to get you over that. We're never going to get you to 101, 102%. So if you're taking exogenous synthetic HGH, there is no control over how much you're going to absorb and how much you're going to utilize. Number one, that's going to decrease your own natural production of HGH, which means if you stop taking your supplement or your injections, then your body's not going to know what to do. It's not going to make it anymore.
Right.
That's a problem. And then number two,
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but that is always a problem, even with bioidentical hormones. And this is something I always ask my doctor, my endocrinologist about. It's like, okay, so if I take DHEA, yes, it will help to improve the levels of DHEA, but then my adrenals might get lazy, just like the pituitary can get lazy, and then you don't want to make it yourself. Your body gets a message. I don't need to make this anymore, even the little bit that you're still making as you get older. So I think you're making a really, really good point here, is that, how do we deal with that? I mean, we don't want to make the body stop doing what it would normally do.
Yep.
You know what
You're
I'm
absolutely
saying?
right. You're absolutely right. That's why we introduce growth factors, which is more downstream. So we don't affect any upregulation of your hormone production, right? And so even while you're taking BioPro, I've been on it now for 2.5 years straight. You're not affecting your normal HGH output. And I can stop tomorrow and I would still maintain my normal production.
Today's podcast is brought to you by Gematria Products. Gematria is based in Carlsbad, California, and they manufacture ultra-high quality dietary supplements using QI technology. Qi, as you probably know, is the energy that runs throughout our bodies and is the basis of Chinese medicine. Use the code AGELESS and get 20% off your order. I highly recommend Demetria's products. I personally use the Complete Aminos, the Heart Gems, and the Methuselah Life, which is an RNA and DNA sublingual spray. The website to go to is www.gematria.com/QI-technology. And there you'll find out more about this fascinating company, their products, and the technology.
So what is a normal for, let's say, a 50-year-old? What would be a normal? Well, I know you have to measure it indirectly, right? HGH, because you measure it through the IgG. Is that the blood test that is measuring human growth hormone?
Usually IGF-1.
IGF-1. Sorry.
Yeah, that's the one that's going to be more commonly found. I'll tell you that while it's steadily decreasing throughout your life, and every year you're going to be decreasing less of it naturally. As a clinician, I don't really seek that out to understand your situation, right? What I mean by that is, if I see a patient and they're complaining of these andropause type symptoms, right? A little bit of weight gain, lack of focus, tired, etc. I'm not necessarily chasing that IGF-1 number. I'm more chasing their symptoms. And now with BioPro, I don't have to check their labs. I know what it's going to do. I know that if I get their lab work, it's just lanyap. It's just a little something extra that we have that's objective that we can talk about. But the serum changes take about 90 days. But you'll see an increase in IGF-1. You'll see, we just had a patient in Utah who they sent us their pre and post labs of total testosterone. And he had a 5.5-fold increase, like a 500% increase in total testosterone. He went from 178 to 1068 or something like that. It was insane.
Wow. Isn't 1068 a bit high for a testosterone count?
Yeah. But he felt great, and it wasn't affecting his red blood cell count was fine. His ferritin levels, all of his iron, his oxygen transport, everything looked good. And so, yeah, my point is that we don't claim to be a testosterone raising company, but we know that growth factors from HGH will help utilize and optimize your testosterone production.
So going back to the question though, what is in the IGF-1? What would be a normal or a good count for HGH? That's not, before you start taking your Bioprotein Plus. Okay, so let's just say you go in for your blood test and you see
it's hard to directly answer that because it changes for everybody. It depends on your age, and it depends. So there's a normal age range. So it really just depends for everyone, and that normal value is going to change for every year of life.
Yeah. So I used a 50-year-old just to give a benchmark, because I know it is affected by age and all these other influences that we haven't even touched on yet. But so like I think when I did mine, it was 160. I don't know. Is that good for a woman to have 160
as a 50-year-old?
Yeah. Well. Yeah, we can say that.
That's my point, right? Because there's lots of that. So when I'm doing this with a patient, I'll even have a chart out, because their age, their gender, there's a lot of environmental factors that I go into it, and so it's not just like a white blood cell count, right? It's below 3 or over 10 or something like that. Right. There's a lot of variables to it because it's decreasing, it's steadily changing. So a 30-year-old's normal IGF-1 is going to be different than a 60-year-old.
Right. No, of course. Yeah. No, I said the 160, but then what caused me to start taking HGH, when I met you in December, I told you that I had, had a very serious spiking accident. And so I had my blood work done, and my HGH went from 160 to 114. And I thought, wow, something's going on that, so it got me scared. Yeah. And I wanted to do something about it. That's why I was drawn to your booth at the American Academy of Anti-Aging, because I thought, I really don't want to take something that's artificial or synthetic if I don't have to. But on the other hand, I know HGH works because I know a lot of people who have taken it, you know.
Oh, it
And
works.
big advocate. Look at Peyton Manning, he obviously, and look at Lance Armstrong, athletes, of course, Sylvester Stallone, all of these people are well, it's well known fact that they are on anabolic steroids. But anyway, moving on, I don't want to dwell on that part, but so that's why I was, drawn to you. And of course, now I'm on your program and I want to talk about that in a few minutes, but because I know you said 3 months, so I'm only a month, I'm only 6 weeks into it. So I'm going to wait and go do some testing afterwards and see what happens. But in the meantime, I always look for the natural ways to increase, like we said, so we don't get lazy, the body doesn't get lazy. So if, in addition to your program, which is a sublingual, like you said, and we'll talk a little bit about why is it efficacious? Why does it work? But just before we do that, tell me what you would tell people to do alongside of contemporaneously with your product so that they're getting the most bang for their buck.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot to unpack there. Let me back up a little bit. When we're talking about like the Stallones of the world or the Peyton Mannings or these athletes or whatnot, I think a lot more people are on products that are optimizing hormone production and utilization than you could possibly imagine. But with today's technology and availability of information, you can more safely optimize it. And so what I would tell folks is no matter what you do, make sure that you're in the hands of someone who's licensed and someone who knows what they're doing. If you do decide to go the synthetic route, right? Don't just order this stuff off of Amazon or get it from Korea or something like that.
Right.
Like just be under the guidance of somebody who knows what they're talking about, not just some bro science stuff that they learned on Reddit or something, right? But make sure that they know legitimately what they're talking about. In addition, you asked what, second thing, I don't chase numbers. I really don't. I don't care. I don't care what your numbers say. I care about how you feel. I care about how you're sleeping. I care about your, the change in your waistline. I care about how fast you can recover from a deadlift day, right? That tells me a hell of a lot more than what your IGF-1 level is, for example, or what if your serum testosterone jumps 200 points. Okay, great, cool. How do you feel? If you still feel like garbage, well, we got more work to do. Now to your question, what do you do while you take HGH, right? Our company is very famous for saying, look, we don't replace a pizza and cupcake diet. We don't do the work for you. And none of them do. I would imagine that most of your listeners and your audience knows that already, right? It's called a supplement just because, that's what it is. It supplements your daily lifestyle. It supplements your work ethic and your goals, right? So along with a good, diet and exercise program, whatever that is, I tell folks just to not eat or drink after you take it for like 10 minutes. You're going to take it first thing as your feet hit the floor in the morning. I keep mine on my nightstand, put it under my tongue. I go take my shower, wait for like 10 or 15 minutes, and then I brush my teeth and go about my day.
What is the reason that you're not supposed to have liquids within the 15-minute time frame?
So for the sublingual administration route, I don't want anything to dilute or convolute what I'm trying to get absorbed under the tongue, right? So, you have a plethora of blood vessels and means of absorption under the tongue. That's why dip is so popular. It's in fact, it's only second to an IV method of administration as far as efficacy of absorption, which is why we chose it, right? So I don't want you to finish your BioPro, swallow it, and then a minute later you're down in water.
Diluting. Yeah.
And then it's just going down into your stomach, and that's no good.
Correct. Got it. So what about the other supplements that you could be taking along with the BioPro Plus? What other supplements would help to the effectiveness of your product?
That's a tough one to answer, mainly because everybody's going to be a little different. Um, for example, I've had a lot of patients that have stopped other supplements and medications even um, because of their switch to BioPro. For example, there's one gentleman that comes to mind. He real bad dude. He's a special forces breacher with military and whatnot, and now works with our local police department. So he blows stuff up for a living, right? He puts C4 on doors and explodes. And anyway, he was getting ocular seizures from all the concussive blasts that he's had over the years. He tried several different medications, started BioPro, and within weeks he was off of all those other medications. He hadn't had an ocular seizure since. And he thought it was kind of a placebo for a little bit, so he stopped taking it and got 2 of them within a week, and then went right back on it, and he hasn't had one since. So, I have plenty of stories like that. I have some people who have stopped antidepressants, people who stopped ADD medicines. I have some people who have stopped taking like just protein and creatine, but you can still take it. I mean, I have people that are on TRT and take BioPro, right? So it's an individualized question. I hate to say it depends, but I guess as a practitioner, I say that a lot because everybody's a little bit different, right? Me personally, I still take whey protein. I still take creatine, mainly because I like, and it's been a habit of mine since I was, in college. Would I have to?
Arginine and ornithine and melatonin. What about? I know melatonin also, of course, is made in the pituitary. So I was thinking, does melatonin actually work along with your bioprotein plus in stimulating the pituitary to produce more human growth hormone?
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that because our second flagship product is the PM counterpart to BioPro, and it's called Cortisleep. Cortisleep has just 2 milligrams of melatonin in it, and it's used to kind of kickstart the sleep process. But the entire purpose of Cortisleep is to enable you to get more stage 3 and stage 4 sleep throughout your sleep cycle, right? I call it getting 8 hours of sleep in 6. As anybody who studies this stuff for 5 minutes, they understand that deep sleep is where your hormone production really starts to kick in, right? That's when your pituitary starts to spit out all these hormones, bathing your tissues with these hormones and growth factors. So we developed a product that gets you to stage 3 and stage 4 sleep, REM sleep, which is where you dream, and then deep sleep. You get there faster in your sleep cycle and you stay there longer. I have folks that increase their REM and deep sleep 200, 300% within the first 48 hours of taking it. Which
how do you measure that?
I use a little Garmin sleep tracker. Or you can use the ring, the Oura ring, or the Whoop strap, or nowadays they've come so far with being able to measure that quite accurately. So you can just compare your previous data to it, and I noticed personally I had a 300% increase in my stage 3 and stage 4 sleep.
So that's the delta, right? Delta stage. When you're in your REM is delta, right?
Correct.
Alpha is when you're still awake, or you're just heading into sleep, right? I think. And beta, what is beta? I always forget. Beta
That's light sleep.
Light sleep. Okay. Well, that you bring up a very good point, because sleep is another one of those important collaterals that you could go along with improving your HGH. So, you said diet, lifestyle, all that, everybody who's ever done any kind of weight training or athletic training knows if they're going to be at their peak performance, they better have had a good night's sleep. And they also should be, eating the right foods. We all know about, which foods are going to be the most efficacious in terms of our peak performance. And of course, that would mean no sugar or very little sugar and no alcohol and of course, lifestyle, no smoking. So
no fun stuff, nothing, no fun.
None of the fun stuff. You better just hang it all up. But right. I mean, you can find a lot of good things in nutritious food because it makes you feel better, right? So if you feel better, then your attitude is going to improve and your performance is going to improve. But the thing that you just said, so we have, I'm just looking for measurements, ways to know that you have benefited by taking on this challenge of doing something that's different than what you've done before. And comparing it to the traditional HGH, which is the least appealing because it is a synthetic and it has really serious side effects. That's the thing that always concerns me is what about, do people just ignore all these side effects that HGH, it's all in the science. So that's very scary. And,
really,
some of the side effects are things like cancer, right? And whoever even wants to mention that as a possibility. But that is one, right?
Yeah, a couple of, I'll touch on that. A couple of studies, I would say this, all of the IGF-1 studies out there use synthetic materials as a medium, right? A lot of those studies are looking at these kids when they're pumping them up with tons of HGH because they're doing everything they can to get them back on to the bell curve as far as growth and development is concerned. So they lose a lot of these guys to follow up. But I would say in general, the science is kind of mixed on it as far as does it produce, does it feed cancer or does it not? I will say that because I think there needs to be more research in this area because I think there's a big difference in pumping somebody up with a plethora of exogenous synthetic stuff and giving somebody something that's bioidentical, non-synthetic, meant to optimize you, not to over-optimize you. So I think there needs to be more studies on. We're doing a couple right now. We have some in trials, really just to prove what we've already known, what we've seen with all of our testimonies that we received. But I will say that there's a lot of growth factor research out there that shows that it lowers PSA, so lowers the risk for prostate cancer, and helps with. There's some cardioprotective benefits. There's some nerve regeneration benefits.
It's interesting that you said that because excuse me for interrupting you, but that testosterone has the reputation of promoting higher PSA and prostate cancer. So how do you correlate the two of those and make a conclusion?
Well, that's been debunked.
Scientifically.
So that the whole testosterone causes prostate cancer thing has been debunked, right?
Yeah.
And we need, oh man, I can go on a soapbox on this and I'm going to try not to.
Well, just give us a, kind of a simple conclusion because, it's true. I always like my viewers to know the truth. And yes, there is a lot of science that is fake science. If you look at who did the study,
I will say this. So I graduated from PA school in 2010, and my mentor, the program director, he pulled this all aside before we graduated, and he said, "Congratulations, you are the smartest you will ever be in your life right now." And I thought about that a little bit, and I was a little taken off by what he said, but then you think about it, and it's kind of true because all of us go into our separate specialties, and I'm not learning anything else about psychiatry unless I stick my head in that book myself and learn about it, right? So I spent most of my career in orthopedics and urgent care, and now I run a medical aesthetics practice, and so I'm in the world of regen and integrative medicine and aesthetics. But if I wanted to learn something about neurology, it's on me. So I bring this into the hormone discussion because if I brought this information to my primary care doctor per se, God bless him, he's a great guy, but he's going to tell me, Arden, you can't start testosterone because it's going to cause cancer, right? Blatant statement. And anybody without a medical degree is going to say, oh, okay, well, he's got the white coat. He knows what he's talking about. But that's not, it's not the case. And if the last 3 or 4 years have taught us anything about the medical community, is that you have to question everything. You have to see you have to read studies, and then you have to see who paid for that study and whose names are on that study and who are they being paid by. You remember a couple of years ago when there was a study that came out that demonized coconut oil and said coconut oil is going to kill you and it's going to kill your family and it's going to rob you blind and blah blah blah. Well, it was written by big agriculture,
Right.
It was written by people who make seed oils.
Right.
And it went away just as fast as it showed up. But for a while, it was a big stink. But that's what I'm talking about. You have to vet this stuff, because the big agriculture, they're just gonna be like, you got me, move on, and there's no repercussions.
I'm glad you said that about coconut oil, because I think coconut oil is a catalyst for improving your human growth hormone, correct? Naturally. I mean, is coconut oil a good nutritional addition to improving your natural?
I mean, in my opinion, it is, and I would use that over vegetable oil any day. So,
well, for sure, but
yeah.
Even for lots of other reasons, like your heart.
Indeed, yeah, exactly.
So, tell me, is it possible for you to share with us what's in your product that makes it compelling?
Well, if I told you everything, I'd have to kill you, Michelle. I can't tell you everything.
Well, I don't want you to, not today anyway, but
I will say this. Our product is naturally and humanely sourced from another mammal. And that's all I'll say. We got a ton of information. We have 13 different growth factors. We have amino acids and, different variety of stuff. But you can check out on our website. In fact, all of our ingredients are on there. And the beautiful thing is that it's all stuff that your body makes already.
Right. But why is it that we can't talk about it on air if it's all public and on the website? Because I think some people just don't read, and they want to
talk
know
about whatever you want. Here, I'll even share my screen. Give me a second. I'll pull it up.
Okay, that would be perfect.
And I'll show you.
I always take the philosophy that people are very busy and they want to know things now, and they don't want to, like ADD is rampant in our society. And so I just want people to be able to know, okay, this is what this has, this is what I'm putting into my body, and this is why, this is going to work for me, or going to work, period. Because it's worked for so many others, and there is science behind it, right? So
yeah, I mean, we have in our manual, we have 75 different articles related to growth factor technology and its benefits. So it looks like I can't share my screen. That's okay. But like I said, 13 different growth factors, insulin-like growth factor 1 and 2. We have EPO, we have BMPs, we have epidermal growth factor, we have fibroblast growth factor, GDF9, nerve growth factor, platelet-derived growth factor. There's vascular endothelial growth factor, TGF alpha and beta, and I think there's like 39 different amino acids as well.
How did you get to become part of this company, and what was its history before you got there?
Oh, this is fun. This is a fun question. I like this. So, like I said, I own a medical spa in Southeast Louisiana, and I was looking for products to start selling as a retail. And I just so happened to be going under for a shoulder surgery a couple of weeks in advance. And I reached out to the owner. The owner reached out to me. We got together, and he heard about my shoulder surgery, and he said, "Hey, I'm going to send you some product. Why don't you try it out?" And so I did, took it every day. And it was about 6 weeks later, I went to my 1 month follow-up for my shoulder surgery. And my surgeon said it was the fastest recovery he has ever seen. He was blown away. And at that point, I was kind of a believer. I already felt really good. And I had full range of motion. I didn't take any pain medication or anything like that. And I was out of the sling. And at that point, I became a distributor of BioPro, and was just singing its praises and couldn't get enough of it. The owner and I kept in touch, and loved it so much. He eventually offered me a job, and I said, "Hell yeah, I'll come work for you." So here I am. So I manage all the providers' accounts across the world. Any medical professional who wants to sell BioPro out of their office, they come through me.
And what's the feedback that you've had from your customers, and then of course indirectly from their clients or their patients?
It's been wild. It's been really cool. The results are definitely repeatable. The most common thing that I hear is I'm able to get a better workout in, and I'm able to recover faster.
Also, I have a lot of erectile dysfunction patients that reach out to me and say that was, eradicated. Basically, they get a tremendous improvement, and that's really quick too. Like usually 3 to 5 days after they start it, they start to get benefit from it.
Is there nitric oxide in the solution?
No nitric oxide, but there is vascular and endothelial growth factors which help dilate and promote blood growth and whatnot. And what is it? Platelet derived, so PDGF. That's going to help with wound repair and blood vessel repair. So that's going to help as well.
Right. And so are they on testosterone replacement when they have that improvement? Typically,
some of them are. Some of them are, but some of them aren't. I'm not, and I would say that I got just a great result. So it's a great standalone product. I want people to know that you don't have to be on TRT to get the benefit from this. It'll still work great for you if you're not on that stuff.
Right. So where are you going from here? Where is the products? What's the next generation? Is there research going on now to do even more than you've been already done? Any breakthroughs that you want to share with us that we should be aware of that will have new product technology?
Yeah. So it's an exciting time for us. Like I said earlier, we have a couple of studies that are in the works. They're being worked up in Tampa. I have a couple of orthopedic surgeons who are doing some trials with carpal tunnel and with road repairs. So they're starting patients on it pre-op and continuing them through their acute recovery phase. And we're documenting and collecting data on how fast they're recovering. I'm working on a couple of scenarios to give it covered under some workman's compensation insurances. I can already get it covered through your health savings account. So if you have an HSA, we can work on that. So lots of moving and shaking going on the medical side, and then our direct to consumer sales is just through the roof. It's been an amazing quarter for us, so we're very pleased.
What do you think is the reason for that?
I think the word's finally getting out. As a small company, it just takes that time, right? And it takes the right avenues and getting in front of the right people. And I think we're finally starting to do that.
So when you say the right people, what would you say is who is your target market, would you say?
So interestingly enough, combat sports and Brazilian jiu-jitsu athletes, that's really blown up for us. It's been wild. So people that are, competing or training for MMA or jiu-jitsu tournaments, they seem to love our products. And it's been wild to see the growth that we've had in that realm. But fortunately, we still have our tried and true direct to consumer sales from the general population and our providers too. So providers are collecting this as inventory and selling it to their general patients as well.
Well, I do want to take a moment because you have been so generous to incentivize our viewers and listeners today. So let's talk for a moment about how we should encourage people to try BioPro Plus and what is the best modality to do that. You said 3 months, so I know you have one offer out that you want to talk about, which is to buy 3 months of supply and get the 4th month free, right? So let me let you describe that, and then the discount that you're going to offer for our viewers.
Correct. Yeah. So that's a standing discount on our website. We know how it is to try to track us down every month, and you don't want to order every month. So buying in bulk really saves you a ton of money. So we have a buy 3, get 1 free option on our website. It's live now, and it is every day. Saves you about $100 a month, and that'll ship directly to your door in 2 days. And then for our show here today, we're going to do a $30 coupon. So if you wanted to try 1 month, you get use your code Ageless, and that'll save you $30 off your order. And you can try it out and get started.
And go to that website, or is there a phone number that people should call you to order? Which is the most efficient way?
the website is by far the most efficient way. That way you can order at 2 a.m. You don't have to wait on me to answer the phone. Bioproteintech.com, and it's all start to finish there.
And we'll put that on our website too. We have a Michele Recommends, where a link that we actually are going to reactivate so that people can go to our website and they'll see what each of our guests is offering, because every guest is always so willing and generous to encourage our viewers to be able to experiment at least with some consideration for the risk. Because some people don't want to take that big toe in the water first step. If they, of course, cash is king, particularly these days, right? So the retail is $299.99, so $300, and you'll get $30 off of your first one. But you're probably better off buying the $30 on one, but getting four, right? Getting the three, but $30 off of the $900 that you'd be investing, and then you'll get 1 month free. So you'll have 4 months. And then what about the cancellation policy? What if somebody doesn't resonate? How do they deal with that if they've made the investment of $900 or 900, or actually be 900 minus 30, right?
If they make that order in bulk, they're going to get everything all at once. We don't hold people, hostage. We don't do any type of commitments or anything like that. So you buy when you want to buy, you don't buy when you don't buy.
But it is an auto ship, so they get one a month, or do they get the whole thing? They get the whole 4 months.
They're going to get the entire package at once.
Okay, so if they get the 4 months, and I'm just looking at it as a consumer. Okay, if you get the 4 months and then you start your first month and oh my gosh, I don't like this, it doesn't agree with me, then can they call you or contact you and get the entire shipment returned, or how do you deal with cancellation?
I'll tell you this, that doesn't happen. You can certainly call us. You can certainly call us, but I'm kind of at a loss for words because it really doesn't.
I love hearing that, but I'm always watching out for people.
Call us. We'll take care of you. I'm very confident in what we do and what we offer. So if that for some reason happens to you, I'll tell you this: the only people that I see, and I've seen maybe 2 of the millions of vials that we have sold since 2009. If someone had some sort of pituitary adenoma or something that causes their pituitary to be really wonky, and they're overproducing, then they don't get the result from BioPro. But that, like I said, that's super rare. As clinicians, we test for it, but we don't find it very often. So, like I said, try it. If you have problems, you call me.
Can you take your product and still do one injection a week of HGH if you already had some of that and you wanted to not waste the $900 a month or whatever it is? But is it okay to take a small, let's say 3 millimeters or whatever that, the smallest dosage is of HGH injectable at the same time as using your product? I don't want you to feel uncomfortable, but just curious.
I would say, because we don't we're not affecting your pituitary production, right? Whatever you don't use from us, you're just going to excrete out. I would say I don't think that's the best idea personally. But I'm not your clinician, right? So I would have that discussion with whoever is legally prescribing you this HGH. And
I'm glad you said it.
Because all of your clientele who are on HGH are on it for a legal reason.
Right.
They're not sourcing it from Mexico.
Right. And they have a doctor that's prescribing it that is aware of their health conditions.
Right. And I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm kidding. Right. But it's
I know you are.
Because HGH works. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and deny it. It does work. But we're offering a safer alternative that's cheaper ultimately and with zero side effects.
Yeah. And having done it for 6 weeks, I can tell you it is so streamlined. I mean, the first thing you do is just a habit. The first thing you do in the morning is you just take it 90 seconds. I set the timer, and then 90 seconds later, swallowed it. And that's it. You don't have to think about it for any, no more supplementation all day. So it makes it very easy. Yeah. And I can tell you that I've been doing the BioStrap because at the show at the American Academy of Anti-Aging, I met with Patrick Porter, who is the CEO of BrainTap, and BrainTap and BioStrap do a collaborative thing where you put the watch on, like what you said you were doing to monitor your sleep. So Patrick is going to be a guest on my podcast next week, and you should watch that eventually, because I think it really does dovetail into what the two of you are symbiotic. Because I always would, say, oh yeah, my sleep is great, but I wondered if I was really sleeping at REM and how deeply. So we did a measurement, and I was now 6 weeks into your program, and he said my sleep was amazing. He said you were getting into REM sleep. You were there for like 7 or 8 hours, and he gave me all the things to look for, and I know that has to do with your product, because I don't think I ever have slept as deeply as, and I sleep well, but I think this is going to a whole other level. So I would encourage people. And I do take the melatonin too. If I wake up in the middle of the night, I'll just take that one little sublingual, and that combined with your product, I think is really what has made the big change. That's why I asked you earlier about melatonin, because it just, seems to me, if both coming from the pituitary, is that really a reason that they work together synergistically? But you're saying your product doesn't really come from the pituitary. I mean, it's not affecting the pituitary.
It is not. No. Neither Core Sleep nor BioPro affect anything upstream. We introduce what we're introducing is further downstream than that, so it doesn't affect what you normally do.
Yeah, I meant to ask you when you were talking about Core Sleep. So would you do those two together, the Core Sleep? Like if you do, so you take that at night the same way you take the BioPro in the morning?
Correct. Yeah. So Core Sleep, you take it about 15 or so minutes before your intended sleep time.
Right.
And it's night. You're out.
Okay. So when you get that, what is that going to also be $30 off that box? First box for those?
No, the Core Sleep is $99.99 normally.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, that's a lot less.
Yes, and we're doing completely different stuff here, right?
Yeah, no, we're focused on your HGH replacement. But because you brought it up earlier, and I completely forgot about the Core Sleep, I just wondered if people who have trouble sleeping would want to get that product as well, along with your.
I highly recommend it. Highly recommend it, because just like HGH has a symbiotic relationship with testosterone, growth hormone or hormone utilization and optimization as a whole has a symbiotic relationship with that deep sleep. So the deeper sleep you get, the more optimized your body will be to receive and use any hormones. So even if you're not using our supplements, right? If you're not using anything of ours, but you're on the TRT or HRT route, you need to get deep sleep. And if you're not, if you're like me and you have a baby girl upstairs who's a year old and screaming at 3 a.m,
right?
You better be getting a deep sleep somewhere.
I read that in your bio that you have three little ones that you chase around. So you do need to get your sleep, and also you travel a lot, right?
I do. Yeah. 2 baby boys and a baby girl.
Wow. I hope your wife is on. I hope your wife is on this program too. Somebody has. Yeah, but if she took the Core Sleep, then she wouldn't be waking up for those little ones. So that would be a difficult challenge, wouldn't it?
No, it's a battle as to how many shrugs can we give each other in the middle of the night. My shoulder wakes up bruised sometimes.
So should we expect any new products? You said there were 2 studies going on now. So are we looking for something breakthrough that we should all be aware of?
I would say the studies are more to confirm what we know to be true already. We're just putting the white paper to it to make those claims, right? So we have some exciting stuff coming up, but I can't say anything about it. But I'm excited to be a part of a company that continues to grow and flourish, and really change people's lives. You know, the stories and the testimonies that we get. We have a very active and engaged Instagram community, and this community will send us all the time. They send us their lab results or their testimonies, or somebody's girlfriend will get up and say, "Hey, I can't believe what I'm seeing in my husband or my boyfriend." And
Right.
it's really cool and really heartwarming to be part of something that is truly working in a world full of not working stuff.
You know, that is a really big statement you just made, because people are very, very jaded about, you know, buying product that doesn't work, and when a product works, that's gold. And is the company going to go public, or is it a privately held?
I don't think we have any intentions on going public.
Good.
I think we like it just the way it is.
Very good. Well, I think we have 5 more minutes, so let's just talk a little bit more about something that I wanted to know about you, because I saw in your bio that you're doing the aesthetic. I mean, I didn't realize you had a spa, but talk a little bit about the aesthetic side. You know, I want to change the subject a little because I know that many people are interested. What are you talking about? Products that don't work? I think that world is full of products that.
Oh yeah, it sure is.
So, what can you give us, like a quick thumbnail of what to do to improve skin quality if that's one of your goals?
Yeah. So it's funny you mentioned, because as I started diving into this world a little bit more, growth factors are used in serums and whatnot to help thicken your dermal layer and smooth out your skin texture. And I think there's some merit to it. There's some companies out there who use some really innovative products that will help your skin texture and appearance. And I'm all for that stuff, right? I think even before you step foot into my office from an aesthetics perspective, do the things that you can control, right? Make sure you're getting enough water. Make sure you're sleeping well. Make sure you're exercising. Make sure that and that doesn't mean, you know, you have to be 10% body fat or 5% body fat or whatever, right? You be you, but be in the habit of producing the best version of yourself.
Right.
And then, you know, at least in my practice, I sit down everybody first, and I treat people like they're my sister or my brother, and I say, hey, look, what do you want? Like, what's your goal? And my goal from an aesthetics perspective is to take the person that they are between their ears, and have them be able to express that person outwardly. And whether that involve skin texture repair with lasers or microneedling or chemical peels, or we're adding stuff like PDO threads or filler. You know, my job is just to help them live outwardly who they feel they are inwardly.
Yeah, perfect. You know, I was just watching a podcast the other day with a plastic surgeon who I forgot his name, but he's apparently done a lot of research about what are the plastic surgery techniques that are no longer effective, and that there's so much new technology. And of course, many people don't want to go under the knife. So having lasers and fillers and all that, of course, are other, you know, very positive for people, particularly busy people who, you know, don't want to go to the extent of a surgery. So can you share with us a couple of products that endothelial ones, particularly because I hear all the time about epidermal growth factors. And is there a company that you like, that you know is efficacious, that it does help to resurface the skin through epidermal growth factor?
So,
if you don't mind.
No, of course. So I work with ZO Skincare. They're my primary pharmaceutical grade skincare line. The letter Z, the letter O. You have to buy their stuff through a licensed provider's office. Who's registered to sell their products. They have a growth factor serum that even I use, and I'm I'm notorious for being like a bar soap, clean my face guy.
Right.
And now my wife beats me if I don't use the products. So
Right.
I've gotten into the habit of taking better care of my skin. And this growth factor serum, it smells good, it feels good, and it works. So
can people contact you if this is different than protein, bioprotein technology? But can people contact you at a number there if they want to order that product?
Yeah.
Or any other of your products?
Yep. I'll make sure to give you a link that they can.
Oh, great.
That they can look up all my relative information sites, and they can buy ZO from a link in the description that I'll give you.
Okay.
And then
count me in. I want to be one of your victims. So
you got it. You got it. And then the name of the company is Rediscover Aesthetics. So one word. You can check out the website.
Yeah. So you're wearing several hats, right? You have a multivariate life challenge going on. You have that, and then you have your training company too, right?
I do.
Yeah. How do you sleep?
I sleep a lot better with BioPro and Cortisleep, that's for sure. I get it in. I'm juggling like 16 chainsaws right now, but I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah. Well, I'm so proud to have met you, and pleased that we crossed paths. But there are no accidents in life, right? So
none at all.
I feel like there was an immediate chemistry when we met, and now even today I feel even more attracted to you because you have so much knowledge, and you're so grounded in your approach. This is so many people make a lot of promises, and then they overpromise and underdeliver. And I feel like it's the opposite, that you underpromise but overdeliver, and you're not a salesperson, even though you are. You're not acting. You don't need to, because you have the product behind you, the products behind you that they speak for themselves. So all right. Well, I think we've run out of time, but I'd like our viewers to know again that they can order your product if they'd like, and obviously get in with the in crowd, because there are a lot of people that are using BioPro and having incredibly great results. And I'm going to be reporting back in another 6 weeks. I'll be getting back to you to give you my feedback. And so, it's hard for me to judge me, because I'm always so energetic and so, excited about life. And so I sleep well, and I have no health, knock on wood, no health issues. So, however, I think I'm a good a good spokesperson for you, in the sense that you're starting at a higher level of fine tuning, and if you can get that even more fine tuned, well, all the better, right? So
that's right.
I think I can be, a good measure for, let's say, an already healthy person that always wants to get healthier or no more. It's the journey of life, right? Is the discovery of more knowledge. Knowledge is power.
You're right. And, I want to know about your journey, and I'm just glad I can help people. I'm finally out of the corporate medical world, and now I feel like my journey with helping people is just starting.
And a more one-on-one type of thing, yeah. Well, I just want our viewers to know that today, Arden is the first person that is actually going to be live on Muscle and Fitness. So we are now very honored to be a part of a magazine that now is going digital after, I think, 40 or 50 years of being the leading magazine for fitness, right? Shape and Muscle and Fitness. And thanks to Dr. Robert Goldman, who invited me to become one of their inaugural. They only invited 20 people, podcasts and blogs. And Arden and I, by the way, wrote a blog together. Mostly it was Arden, but I added my 2 cents worth. So you'll see the blog. So if you can, go on Muscle and Fitness. Their link is Muscle and Fitness Plus, because the magazine still has their site. But if you go on Muscle and Fitness Plus, you'll see anti-aging. It'll be the category that Ageless and Timeless is under. And in another week or so, Arden will be there, as well as on my YouTube channel and on my website. and on all the other sites that are distributions for podcasts. Thanks to our very wonderful Tony and UBNGO, which produces and distributes my podcast. So with all of that said, goodbye, everybody, and have a beautiful day. Arden, thank you so much for joining today. I really loved talking to you, and thank you for allowing me to be a guinea pig in trying your product.
Oh, my pleasure.
Okay, take care, everybody. Bye-bye.